Hello, everyone. Welcome to Start the Week with Spencer. We're going to be starting off with a special presentation today. Give me one moment. I'm just going to go live on Instagram and then we will get started. And we are live. All right, everyone. Well, welcome to Start the Week with Spencer. This is our weekly webinar where I take questions from parents all around the world. And today is a special day. It's kind of a special webinar that we try to do once a month called Victory Day. The purpose of Victory Day is for us to talk about some of the changes that children have had at the Doman International Clinic in the last month. These are families who are on the Advanced Doman program and are coming for appointments either in person at one of our worldwide locations or who are joining or doing appointments remotely online. And so we just want to report on the successes that these children have had. As I go through these different children and their successes, I'm going to be showing some videos, which is good. You really get to meet the child and see the kinds of progress that they're having. And I'll also be giving their diagnoses, so you have a little bit of background about what challenges that they face. And of course, as I go through it, interested in hearing feedback and thoughts. So I'm going to start with the presentation and then I'm going to open it up to questions for everyone. So interested in any questions that parents have. All right, let's get started. Hopefully the presentation will work for me, and it looks like it is. So I'm going to start by talking about Harry. Harry is 7 years old and he's received a diagnosis of being developmentally delayed, and also he has microcephaly. And so in this period, Harry has improved greatly with his physical development and his walking, and he's improving daily in his distance. So Harry in the past learned how to walk with the Doman method, and now he can also climb the stairs. Okay, so that's a huge gain to have in terms of your mobility. So I have a quick video here of Harry and his mom, and you're going to see him walking with his handheld and then doing some walking independently, which again is a pretty new skill that he's mastered.
Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Can you do some on your own now? Good boy. Good boy. Good job. Good boy. Good boy.
Yeah, so you can see there, which is very common for new walkers. He walks with his hands held up. That's basically for balance, to help him balance and catch himself if he falls. And what we find is as children walk more and more, their hands start to come down. So that is a huge achievement for Harry and his family. And also his problem-solving ability has improved. So right now he's on a Doman method cognitive program. So he's being taught reading and math and Doman cards. And so he's now answering more and more correct answers when mom is doing kind of testing with him at home. And I think I have a quick video here of Harry learning Doman cards, where you're going to see in this video, he's learning flags of the world.
Let's look at flags of Europe. Italy, France, United Kingdom, Spain, and Germany.
Okay, so that's a kind of a typical duration session of the Doman method. And so you can see here, Harry's learning about things, information about the world, but he's learning it at home with mom, and he's learning quite sophisticated information, learning about geography and in this case flags.
Let's look at flags of.
All right. Next we have Nabil. Nabil is 5 years old, and his diagnosis was autism. And in this period, Nabil improved in his speech, so he's speaking more, but also in his reading and writing skills. And I'm going to show you some videos of Nabil. In this video, it's Nabil reading. Now, he does have a soft voice, which hopefully you'll be able to hear over the video. But in this what you're going to see him do here is he's actually reading. He's written something in a book, and now he's reading what he's written.
I have two eyes. I have one nose. I have 10 fingers. I have 2 ears. I have 10 toes.
There you go. So you could hear, hopefully you, if you're watching, you could hear him saying, you know, I have 10 fingers, I have 10 toes. So this is everything that he's written independently, and now he's reading it out loud as well. And as you can imagine, that requires a lot of skill. You have to be able to read, write, and talk. And look at his age. He's only 5 years old. So, you know, that's really an exceptional ability for a child at his age. Most 5-year-olds don't read at all, don't write at all. So he's really showing an exceptional ability here. And I think this is a quick video of him writing. And I'm sure it's hard for everyone to see what he's writing, but he is writing independently. So, you know, really, congratulations to Nabil and to his family. What an amazing achievement for a child who's only 5 years old.
I have two.
All right, next we have Marie. One of the great things about doing Victory Day is you can really see we've got families from all around the world. Okay, so Marie, and children of different ages as well. So here's Marie. Marie is 2 years old. She received a diagnosis of developmental delay. And one of Marie's biggest challenges in life is her mobility. When she started the Doman Method program, she could not move at all. She completely lacked mobility, couldn't use her hands well. So she was really in a very difficult place. Marie now can crawl on her belly up to 50 meters a day. And the quality of her crawling is getting better every day. So here you're going to see a quick video of Marie crawling. So there you can see she was actually crawling to a bottle. So she's crawling for a need, and she's pulling herself forward with her arms and pushing with her legs, which is really great that she's using all 4 limbs to move. One of her biggest next steps, goals, will be moving more in a cross pattern, right, where her right arm and left leg are working together, and her left arm and right leg are working together. That's called a cross pattern. That's a very important pattern to learn in order for a child to learn how to creep on their hands and knees and later walk. But you really can't understate how important this ability is, this ability to crawl, for a few reasons. And a lot of the time people will watch a child crawling for the first time and they'll kind of say, oh, crawling, you know. But first of all, crawling on the belly is the first step toward walking. And it is the most important first milestone that a child can achieve to walk. Not sitting, right? Not rolling. Those are good milestones, but independent forward movement are the most important milestones to hit for a child to learn how to walk. And we know this from 70 years of experience. Many children learn to roll and sit and then never advance beyond that. So Marie has achieved the first big step that you need to achieve for mobility advancement. And the second thing is a quality of life thing. Now she has a motivation, right? She has an ability to move around her own home. So there you just saw her crawl for a bottle, so she can crawl for her needs. She can navigate around the house. That makes your life a lot more exciting, a lot more fun, a lot more interesting. So it's really, really important. And she's using her limbs so much more now than she used to. I also want to say it's very important for health as well. When a child moves on their own, it develops their breathing and respiratory system. as compared to a child who's immobile. And when children are mobile and they develop their breathing, we often see improvements in speech development. We see they tend to be healthier. They have fewer respiratory infections because they breathe well. And their immune system tends to be much stronger. Their sleep tends to be a lot better. So there are all of these kind of downhill cascading effects that come when you get a child moving for the first time on their own. So Marie also can hang on a dowel up to 20 seconds now, unsupported. So she can hold her own weight from a dowel. And because of this manual program, she can use her hands much better than before. She can hold a spoon. She can hold a heavy glass bottle with water in it. She can grab objects. She can play with her toys. These are things she could not do before with her hands. Here you're going to see her hanging from a dowel. This has been a part of the Doman method for decades and is really important for kids with special needs who have poor manual function.
Давай. Давай, Маша. Поехали. Летящий олень. Давай. Ножками дрыгай, дрыгай, дрыгай. Дрыгай ножками, Маша. Да. Ножками, ножками. Ножками. Stop. Пах.
Yeah, so you could really see there. Look at the amount of strength she needs to hold her body up. When Marie started this, she could not do that long, right? Even a second or two was difficult for her. But building up, right? Doing this activity daily builds up her strength in her hands. It improves the brain cell connectivity between the muscles in her hands and arms and her brain. And when that happens, she uses her arms more and more. She's able to use her arms more in daily life. And that's why she's gaining all of these new abilities. Okay. Oh, and then also Marie's comprehension has amazingly improved. She recognizes the names of her games that with her parents. She knows exactly what to do. She can play games like, for example, if her parents ask her to show parts of her face, like show your nose, show your eye, show your mouth, she can do that. And that shows a really good progress in her comprehension. And again, look at her age. She's only 2 years old. This is a quick session. Mom is actually showing a Doman book, which is a very important part of the Doman reading program, to Marie. Now, this book is in Russian, so non-Russian speakers won't really understand it, but I just want to show you a few seconds so you can see what does the Doman Method cognitive program with a 2-year-old look like. Please note that there are pages of text, right? No pictures on the pages with text because we don't want to distract the child from the text.
Это цветные мячики.
So Mom began by reading that page out loud to Marie. We're teaching Marie to read even though she's only 2 years old. Showing her a picture of the toys.
Это мягкая кукла.
And you can see, again, Marie, a child who barely used her hands before, is now using her hands to touch the paper, right? So she's, really using those hands a lot more. All right, next we have Alexa. Alexa is 11 years old. He was diagnosed with autism before he started the Doman Method program. And Alexa has become very responsible at home this period. His mom told me that he's kind of like a different child now. He knows his entire home and school schedule. He packs all of his own things when he goes to school now. He helps with caring for his baby sibling. Mom really saw a great advancement in his independence by his ability to care for his sibling, which is a obviously it's a big concern for parents when they have a child with special needs and they have a baby arrive. They don't know, is the older child going to be jealous? Is the older child going to interact with the baby or help out? And so Alexa has demonstrated that he can do that, and he's very, very caring. He also does things like take out the garbage, which I'm sure his parents appreciate. Alexa now, from a social standpoint, is able to play with his friends at their house. So he'll go over and hang out with his friends. He'll watch movies with them. He also invited his friend to come to the family's house to play. And before, he just wasn't able to relate with other kids like that at all. Of course, it's a huge concern for parents of kids with autism about socialization. Can my child interact with others, make friends? Here's a quick video of Alexa playing basketball. He's already better than me at 11 years. Alexa also, his speech development has greatly improved. So for example, he, 6 months ago when he started the Doman Method program, if you asked him about his experiences, he could only answer you in one or two sentences, right? So if you said, Alexa, what did you do today at school? He would tell you something like, we play basketball, but he couldn't tell you anything more than that. Now, if you ask him, what did you do today, Alexa? And he demonstrated this to me. He literally told me 10 different things that he had done. He said, oh, first I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. He could tell me a whole story, which for us is a very important sign that a child is at least at a 6-year-old level in speech. So basically in 6 months, he went from what would be the equivalent of a 3-year-old level in speech to all the way up to a 6-year-old level or above, which is obviously a huge, huge difference. So Alexa now is not just able to speak in paragraphs, he can also do presentations. And so at school, he's started to actually do presentations where he'll, go up to the front of the class and teach the class about something he's learned. And that obviously makes his family very, very proud. Also, like many kids with his diagnosis, he's hypersensitive to sounds. He's overly sensitive, but his tolerance to loud sounds has improved. And he even went to a gymnastics competition recently to cheer on his sister, which of course in those kind of halls, right, where there are a lot of people, where there's music and a lot of noise, that can be very disturbing for kids with sensory issues. And so for Alexa, he had no problem this time. And in the past, that would have been a real challenge for him. His physical skills have also improved a lot. He can now run 2 kilometers nonstop. 2 kilometers for Americans is something like 1.2 miles, 1.3 miles, right? So if you just took the average 11-year-old and asked them to run that, they would find it extremely difficult. Probably they would not be able or willing to do that, but he does that. And that shows not only his physical stamina, but his maturity. Running is an important part of the Doman method because running has been demonstrated for many years to help brain development. And Alexa also does a treatment, which is a new part of the Doman method called ATNR patterning. ATNR patterning is a series of movements with the child's limbs, okay, head and limbs, that involves crossing the midline of the body with the limbs. We've done different kinds of patterning for nearly 70 years with the Doman method, originating with my grandfather, Glenn Doman. And ATNR patterning is one of our newer forms of patterning, but it's very helpful for kids with cognitive issues, kids with speech issues, reading problems, math issues, social challenges, coordination challenges. So here you're going to see Alexa at 11 years doing his own ATNR patterning, his own treatment on his own independently. Let's watch. So you can see he's crossing over the midline of his own body. That's often a challenge for a lot of kids with special needs. And so Alexa is doing that on his own. Congrats to Alexa and to his family. That's a huge achievement. Next, we have Vieco. Vieco, again, 8 years old, has a diagnosis of autism and developmental delay. His mobility, balance, and coordination has greatly improved in the last period. He brachiates whenever he gets the chance. And I'm going to show you a video of Vieco brachiating. Brachiating is one of the most important Doman method mobility programs because it involves a child completely holding up their own weight with their hands. And you're going to see Vieco going across the brachiation ladder, maintaining his own weight. Okay. And let's take a watch and then we'll talk a bit more about it after watching Vieco do this. But he does it completely independently, which is quite a physical challenge.
Haydi. Haydi.
I'm just going to pause it there for 1 second so everyone can see what I'm talking about. So you can see that Vieco is holding up his own weight. He's grasping one dowel with one hand and another dowel with the other hand. And this is very important because it helps improve the pincer grasp, right? He's grasping those dowels. He's holding his whole weight, which requires a lot of strength and coordination. And that helps develop this manual ability. And of course, this manual ability of the pincer grasp is very important for things like fine motor skills, like unscrewing a cap off a bottle or pulling a cap off a pen, right? You need to have this pincer grasp for fine motor skills. But more importantly, you need it for writing, right? You need to be able to hold a pen with the index finger and the thumb, which Vieco is able is developing through this brachiation ability. It also helps improve vision because each time Vieco goes to reach for the next rung, he has to use his two eyes to spot the next rung. So it's very good for visual convergence and attention. So Mary looks at the next rung before he grabs it.
Dobro.
Yeah. So there you can see Vieco brachiating independently, a huge achievement. He also does his ATNR patterning independently, similar to the video that we just watched of Alexa. And he's getting much better at writing and communication. And that goes back to what I was saying before about brachiation, how it helps writing. Of course, his writing is going to get better if every day he's working on that pincer grasp over and over and over again. And as I said, this ATNR patterning, very helpful for cognitive skills, reading, writing, math, communication. So the ATNR patterning is probably helpful as well. Here's a quick video of the patterning he's doing. So that's really, really a great job. And by the way, a lot of this, the reason why it's so helpful for children to reach across the midline of the body with these different activities is because it is stimulating and coordinating the two hemispheres of the brain to work together. And very often children with special needs have real problems with activities that require the two hemispheres to communicate and work together. So it's one of the many reasons why it helps kids like Vieco. All right, next we have Jose Maria. And he is 1 year old, and he has a diagnosis of hydrocephalus and also chromosomal deletion, because children with genetic conditions can also be helped by the Doman method. And in his mobility, Jose Maria started to have more movement with his legs. His head control has improved, and he's also gained core and abdominal strength, right, in his trunk. And all of these things are going to be very important for independent movement for him in the future. If you can hold your head up better and you can use your legs more and your core is stronger, that's going to help you with moving. Here's a video of just different activities that his family is doing with him as part of their program. Unfortunately, I don't have volume with this video. In this video, mom is doing auditory stimulation. Okay, so they're making different sounds to stimulate Jose Maria's hearing. And they're showing here his improved neck control. Before, it was very difficult for him to do these kinds of things. For him to be able to move his neck towards something is a big, big deal for him. So congratulations to Jose Maria and his family. Okay, last but not least, we have Sahil, who's 10 years old. And Sahil's behavior this period has improved a lot, as has his understanding. And very often you'll see that with children, that their comprehension and understanding improves. And then along with that better understanding comes more maturity, right? Better behavior. They become more cooperative. They work with their parents better, because now they can be reasoned with, right? Someone can explain to them, oh, we have to do this for this reason. And now because they have a better cognitive and intellectual ability, they understand why. So his behavior and his understanding has improved, but his reading comprehension has also improved. And he can read on his own now, which is huge. I mean, the ability to read independently is one of the most important cognitive abilities that someone can gain in their life. And he's also able to answer indirect questions. Now, indirect questions, just to give you an example, there are two kinds of questions. There are direct questions and there are indirect questions. A direct question is when you ask the child to locate something, right? So for example, if you hold up two words, all right, like hopefully everyone can see me holding up these two cards. One card says doctor and one says learning, right? If you just ask a child, where's the word doctor? That's a direct question. You're just asking them to locate something you're asking for. But if you say, who do we go to when we're sick? That's an indirect question. Or, oh, who wears a white coat? That's an indirect question, right? Who gives you medicine? That's an indirect question. It means you have to take the information you're given and make a mental leap. And indirect questions are a sign of higher comprehension than direct questions, right? And so the fact that Sahil now is able to answer indirect questions is a real demonstration of how much his comprehension has improved. So I really want to congratulate Sahil and his family. So that is it in terms of Victory Day. I really want to thank all of the families that shared the videos of their children and the information about their kids. And I want to say, we do not pick and choose these children. These are not the children that we chose because we felt they would be the most impressive results to show to the world. No, we actually, the selection of children for Victory Day is completely random, because it's the parents who are comfortable sharing the information. And so, we're really appreciative for the families who are willing to share their child stories, because we know it's inspiring to many other families out there. The families who achieve the results on the Doman method that I just went through, by the way, for any of you who joined late, you can always watch back later on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, watch this presentation again. But I want to say they worked hard for these results, right? These are things that they were working usually on a daily basis to achieve. And so I really, behind each of these big achievements were parents who put in time and work. And so I really want to appreciate what those parents achieved. Well, everyone, as you probably know, this is our weekly webinar called Start the Week with Spencer. This is the time I usually take questions from parents around the world. And I wanted to start off with Victory Day, and I'll be doing this once a month. But I do want to take questions from the audience. So if any of you have questions, whether you're joining me on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and type your questions into the chat box and I will get to them in order. I got one message from Anjali who said, I hope this will be saved. It will absolutely be saved. Yeah, on Facebook and on Instagram and YouTube. And by the way, you can share it also with other people who, other parents who might be interested in the Doman method, or you could share it with a spouse if you wanted them to, see the kind of effects that the program can have. Edina says, hello, greetings from Hungary. Thanks for joining, Edina. It's always great to have parents joining from around the world. All right. So does anyone have any questions that they'd like to, I'll basically take questions in order. So just go ahead and start, typing your questions in. While I'm waiting for questions, I do want to say that, probably many of you know this already, but the materials that I'm showing, during this webinar, whether it's, reading materials like this, right? Or whether math materials, right? Here you have an addition equation. All of these materials are available at domanlearning.com. So, here you have some, I'm not sure if you can see that. It's a Chihuahua. This is a Doman card. All of these kinds of materials and an explanation of how to teach with them are at domanlearning.com. So I highly recommend you check that out. Also at Doman Learning, we're announcing this month, we are re-releasing the first month of single words. So if you have already signed up for the Reading Before School course at Doman Learning and you have the reading materials, we are re-releasing the materials with pictures. So there are going to be picture cards accompanying the word cards. And the reason why we're doing that is that we found that for a specific percentage of children, not a majority, but a group of children, they weren't enjoying, or they weren't completely focused on the reading program on its own. But when we added images to the program, that their interest increased. And when a child's interest increases, their motivation increases, and their retention, their memory of what they're being taught improves. Because we've known for many, many years, when children are interested and excited and relaxed, they learn best. So we've added image cards to the word cards. They are not on the same cards, right? It's always the case that pictures are on their own cards and then words are on their own cards. So for example, you would show the picture of a dog and then on a separate card, the word dog. But when we do that, we find that children enjoy the program a lot more and they learn to read a lot faster. And that's what matters the most. All right, I have a message here from Always Early Morning saying, hi, thanks for the inspiration. Thanks for joining. By the way, I love the name of your page, Always Early Morning. It's nice. All right. Nancy is asking a question here in Spanish, so I will answer it in both in English and Spanish. So she's saying, good morning, do you all do diagnoses? In Spanish, buenos días, ustedes hacen diagnósticos. So Nancy, I'll answer in English and then in Spanish. So what we do, Nancy, is we do something that, in my opinion, is more important than a diagnosis, which is we do a functional evaluation of a child. Meaning we look at what is a child able to do and what are they not able to do compared to other children their age. And then we create a treatment program to help address the things that they cannot do. The problem is a diagnosis often doesn't provide any answers for parents, right? A parent will be told, your child has this diagnosis, and sorry, there's not much we can do about it. Or just go and do the conventional therapies, speech, occupational therapy, so on. And very often that's provides poor results for the children. So we do a functional evaluation of the child, and we have a tool called the developmental profile. Okay. We use that tool to show parents. Oh, actually, I have one right here. Hold on. I'll grab it. This is called the Institute's developmental profile. And we use this for every child that comes to Doman International. We look at 6 areas of development. I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'll just tell you what it says. We look at vision, hearing, tactility, which are the 3 most important sensory abilities. And then we look at mobility, language, and manual competence. Okay. And so when we create this profile for a child, it allows parents and us to see exactly where the child is in their development. Everyone, give me 30 seconds to answer this for Nancy in Spanish. Nancy, cuando niños vengan a Doman International para una evaluación, nosotros hacemos una evaluación con el profil de desarrollo, ¿ok? Que es nuestro profil donde podemos evaluar la habilidad de visión, audición, táctil, movilidad, lenguaje y la capacidad manual. Y con este perfil, nosotros y los padres podemos ver dónde está el niño en el desarrollo. Okay? Okay. I get to practice my Spanish, which is always nice. All right, let me go to the next question from Always Early Morning on YouTube. Is the kid learning how to read using syllables, or can I improve his reading quality with the Doman method and showing cards to him? So we use what is often called a sight word method. It's not that we don't believe in teaching letters. We do teach letters at a certain point in a child's reading instruction. But what we do first and foremost is teach children to read using words. And so now, even if your child has learned how to read letters or syllables in school or at home, adding a Doman reading program can be incredibly helpful. What we often find, even with children that learn kind of the standard way in school how to read, we find that when we teach them words with the Doman method, their reading speed increases, because all of a sudden they stop reading syllable by syllable. Like they stop going learning, right? And they just they see a word and they recognize the word for what it is. They see learning, right? And actually, learning is a good example because English itself is not a very phonetic language. And so, if most of us read by seeing entire words, we look at the word learning and we recognize it as learning. But if someone only can read phonetically, it makes reading much more difficult because there are so many different ways that you can pronounce these different letters, right? So someone could say Li R9, right? And that's what typically happens with children that kind of learn using phonetics. And so it often takes them a long, long time to learn how to read words correctly. And the wild thing about it is that the way our brain reads is by recognizing whole words, right? We have an area of the brain called the visual word form area, and its job is actually to recognize words. And it's how we read. If we read letter by letter, it would take us a decade to finish a book, but we're able to recognize whole words. And that's what allows us to read 200 words a minute. And so it's best to teach children in the way that their brains are designed to learn how to read, which is by recognizing whole words. So I hope that's helpful. If you have a child with special needs, I would recommend you go to domaninternational.org and fill out a contact form, and we'll send you more information. You just go to the contact page, fill it out. If you don't have a child with special needs, no learning challenges, and you're just interested in reading, go to domanlearning.com and check out the Reading Before School course. It's a course for parents that includes all the teaching and materials to teach a child how to read at home. All right, Skyla says, good morning, Spencer. This is so wonderful to see and we'll share it. So inspiring. Can you do the Doman method with a 36-year-old who had started tiptoe walking again? Looking forward to the reading program with pictures. Yeah, so Skyla, the answer is absolutely. Yeah, age is not a factor when deciding if the Doman method can help a child with or adult with special needs. My grandfather, Glenn, actually started this work with stroke patients in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And then he later started to work with children because he realized, well, I can get faster results with children, but also I can get their families involved in the treatment, which is one of the reasons why the program is so successful, because we have families involved and doing the treatment with the children. But it is important for people to know he started this work with seniors basically, and was able to demonstrate that the program can work with people of any age. And so we have many adults on our program as well. Thanks for asking. Anjali is asking about the pictures with the reading words. She's saying, what about the people who have already purchased the Reading Before School course program? So Anjali, for anyone who already bought the Reading Before School course, they're going to get access to the pictures for free. They don't have to repurchase the course. So we're releasing this as a benefit, as a bonus to the parents who have already enrolled in the course. Now, of course, for new parents who want access to it, they'll buy the course like you did. But yeah, for parents who have already purchased the course, we're just rolling it out as a bonus. Kritika is asking, hi, how to start while I'm pregnant? Is there any possibility? So Kritika, I have to ask, are you, and I have to ask this because it's kind of the nature of our work. Are you asking about just our early childhood education programs, or are you asking about a child with special needs? The reason why I have to ask is that we have more and more families that, for example, they will do an ultrasound or an amniocentesis, and they might receive a diagnosis from the doctor while mom is still pregnant. And actually, last year, we graduated a girl from the program who was two years old. Her name's Vera. And when mom was pregnant, she went in for a test, and they told her, your child is going to have a brain structure abnormality. And so fortunately, this pregnant mother knew a mother on our program, and she, after the baby was born, literally the moment the baby was born, she started our Doman method treatment program for kids with special needs. Now, presuming that you're just asking for any baby, it's very interesting. And with the Doman method, we haven't done a lot of work with stimulating children during the prenatal period, during pregnancy. We've always focused on what to do at birth. Definitely, I recommend you look into things like the books, How Smart Is Your Baby? That's a really great book to have when a baby is born. Also, the book Fit Baby, Smart Baby, Your Baby is really good. These are Doman books written by members of the Doman family. And I highly, highly recommend those books, because when the baby comes, Kritika said any baby. Yeah, so the books How Smart Is Your Baby by Glenn and Janet Doman, and then the book Fit Baby, Smart Baby, Your Baby by Glenn and Douglas Doman. Those are the books that I would recommend you get. In terms of what to do during pregnancy, we haven't done a lot of work with prenatal stimulation. Now, there are books on the subject. Like there's a book called I think it's called The Prenatal Playground, which is all about prenatal stimulation. Funny enough, my grandfather Glenn was a complete pioneer, right? In the sense he wrote books like How to Teach Your Baby to Read, How to Teach Your Baby Math. People thought he was insane. Well, professionals thought he was insane. I think millions of parents around the world obviously loved what he did, but a lot of professionals called him crazy. And for that reason, funny enough, my grandfather didn't get intimidated by much, but I remember him saying at one point, he said, look, I've already created a reading and a math program for babies. You know, I tell parents to put babies on the floor so that they can learn to crawl, creep, walk, and everyone calls me nuts. If I get into prenatal stimulation, like telling pregnant mothers how to stimulate their babies, they'll put me in an insane asylum. You know, he literally said that. And so he said, he was like, I love the idea, but he was like, I'm going to just start at birth. And then I'll let other people take up the battle of, you know, trying to convince the world that we should do stimulation when a baby is in utero. Listen, I haven't looked a lot into the research of stimulation during pregnancy, but I love the idea of playing music for babies. I think that playing, you know, classical music for babies in utero is a great idea. And I think speaking to the baby, I think is a great idea, because babies during pregnancy, they have obviously a very restricted ability to hear the world around them. And obviously their ability to feel and see is greatly limited by the environment of being in mom's belly, but they can hear. And so I think the best thing you can do is play music and speak to the baby. Yeah. And they do hear. I saw some amazing research that they looked at babies, and they looked at, they found that babies after they were born were soothed, they were relaxed by the theme songs of their mother's favorite TV shows. So what happens, right? Pregnant mom sits down on the couch to watch her favorite TV show. The theme song comes on. Mom is happy and relaxed, and baby feels it, right? And all those, whatever they are, biochemicals that, you know, hormones that are being released in mom's body that make her happy and relaxed, or, you know, the baby also gets access to some of that as well. And so what does that show you? I mean, it means, first of all, the babies in utero can hear the music, right? But also that they were in tune with mom's physiology so much that something that relaxed mom relaxes them. And so that really shows you the importance of, you know, when mother is pregnant, what is she exposing herself to emotionally, I think is very important. Mom does need to rest and relax. Not to say that mothers shouldn't do physical activity. I do think staying mobile during pregnancy is very important. But what is mom exposing herself to in terms of stress? Because to a certain degree that could impact the baby as well. I hope that helps. Kirtika is asking for the names of the book. So the first book is called Fit Baby, Smart Baby, Your Baby. And the second book is called How Smart Is Your Baby? You can get it online wherever you are in the world. And then, Kirtika, I would also recommend going to domanlearning.com, and check out our different courses for parents, because once the baby arrives, you'll be able to start implementing the recommendations there. I just dropped the names of the books into Instagram. All right, we have a lot of questions coming in now. I have 10 more minutes just to let everyone know. Okay. Pablo says, my son is stuck in single sentences. How can I help him to put phrases together? Pablo, I'm not sure if I understand your, he later said, my son is stuck in single words. How can I help him to communicate in full sentences? Pablo, do you mean like he's only saying one word at a time in speech? And if that's what you're saying, how old is he? That would be my next question. Because obviously it's a very different question if he's 1 year old compared to 5. Manpreet is asking, how important is the birth cry? I am due to have a water birth, but have been told that babies often do not have a birth in the water. Thanks. So Manpreet, I'm not sure if you know this. I was born, I'm a water birth. I was born under underwater. My father, Douglas, has always been very interested. He wrote the book How to Teach Your Baby. He's always been interested in swimming, and so he traveled to Russia in 1986, a year before I was born, to learn from one of the world's leading experts there in water birthing, because a lot of it came out of Russia. And then my parents decided to for me to be a water birth, and I was born at home. So we're big believers in water birth, big believers. And from the research that I've looked into, the issues, something like a delayed birth cry, which would usually indicate maybe some kind of hypoxia, like a lack of oxygen during the birthing process. I've never heard that before. I've never seen research to that effect. Now, if you find it and you want to send it to me, I'll be happy to take a look at it. But any research that I have seen shows the opposite, that complications during water births are less. And the reason why is in the water tank, first of all, mother can be more relaxed. And that allows her to, obviously during the stressful birthing process, that's very important. It also allows mom to, for example, more easily be in the squatting position, which is the most natural position to be in when birthing a baby. And so, I think that, I think that water birthing is great. So I've never heard that. If you find any research, feel free to send it to me. But a lot of this stuff, you'll hear a lot of things online, a lot of people spreading rumors and gossip, but a lot of it's unfounded, and so I've never heard that or read research that demonstrated that. All right, going back to Pablo. Pablo says, my son is trying to communicate, but only in single words. He is trying to put phrases together, but he can't, so he prefers to stay silent. No, I get that, Pablo, but how old is he? Like his age? Hi, everyone. I just got thrown off of the webinar. Could someone just comment below if they're able to see me and hear me? I would really appreciate it. I see, anyone who's on Facebook, can you just write, yes, Spencer, I can see and hear you. So that way I know I'm talking to someone. Well, okay. I see. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, perfect. So going to some other questions here. Skyla says, to quote your grandfather, yeah, don't leave the wounded behind. So inspiring. Can you do the, I already saw your question, Skyless. Thank you. All right. Jennifer said, I love the Fit Baby book. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Jennifer says, my son has an occasional accommodative spasm where his left eye turns in sometimes when he's trying to focus. What is the best way to work on his convergence? He is almost 2. Okay, so Jennifer, there are a few things that you can do for his convergence. Now, while I'm answering this question, it'd be helpful. Does he have other developmental challenges, mobility challenges, speech challenges, or is it just this one visual issue? So in terms of, what you're describing, where a left eye turns inward, right? It comes in, which you accurately call, Jennifer says he's speech delayed. So, so that, like you said, that's called the convergence issue. that is not a problem in the eyes. That is a neurological challenge. And the reason why is there's a very low region of the brain called the midbrain, and the midbrain is responsible for visual movement, right? So for example, if I move my eyes from side to side like this, that's the midbrain. And so the problem is if the midbrain is injured at any point, it could be during the birthing process, during birth, after, it can often create this imbalance in the muscles of the eyes. It's not a problem in the muscles, it's a problem in the brain, but the symptom is in the muscles of the eyes, which creates a tightness in those muscles. And that muscle imbalance, that tightness, creates the convergence problem. So there are activities you can do for his convergence. Some of them are tracking activities. And hopefully I've got something here that I can show you this with. Let's see. I was not prepared for this specific question. Give me one moment just to grab something to show you. Okay, so convergence activities are very helpful for kids with visual convergence challenges. And so what we do is you take a small object, right? So I just happen to have a paper clip here, so I'm going to use this just because it's the only thing I have. And what you can do is you can have your child start to track the object in different directions, right? Now, when you do this, you often want to hold your child's chin a bit because you don't want him to move his head with the object, because if he moves his head, he's actually not developing those the connection between the eye muscles and the brain. So you want to challenge his brain by keeping his head in one spot and having him track that object. So I'd recommend you do this like side to side, you do it up and down, you do it in and out, right? These are different kinds of activities that develop this visual ability. And by the way, he'll probably find it tiring because he has that tightness in the muscles. As you do these activities, you might find him closing his eyes, looking away, and you'll have to kind of encourage him and say, look back, look back. You probably want to have things like stickers and toys, things he's interested in that he'll enjoy to track. Now, you said he skipped creeping. That was in your last comment. And so you've been doing creeping as much as you can. He is walking pretty well. So creeping on the hands and knees helps develop the midbrain. So that can improve visual convergence. So can crawling on the belly. I'm not sure. You said he's almost 2 years old. So he's not going to be willing to go back to crawling on the belly. But, at this age, he might in the future. But I think, so I was going to say along with convergence activities, creeping is very good. With the Doman method, we also have a program called patterning, which helps develop the midbrain that can be helpful for visual convergence as well. So there are a few different activities. Jennifer, I'm guessing that you took the Doman method course online. I'm guessing that based on the nature of your question, or do you just know about our work through books? You did. Okay, yeah, I suspected so. Okay, yeah. So I think creeping and maybe add in the convergence activities. Yeah. All right, everyone. We are pretty much out of time. Oh, Pablo, sorry. Okay, Pablo, I'll finish off with your question. 7 years old. So yeah, Pablo, yeah, you're definitely right. If he's 7 and he's only saying single words, yeah, there are many things that you can do, and I'm not sure if I can get to all of them now. I guess my first question is, Pablo, have you read any of the Doman method books? Have you read, for example, the Doman method from special needs to wellness? And Pablo, in case you're a Spanish speaker, so we have this book, the Doman method from special needs to wellness, and then we have the Spanish translation, which is El Método Doman. I highly recommend this book because it actually has speech development, a whole chapter on communication and speech development in this book. We also have a book called Answering Autism, which in Spanish is Respondiendo al Autismo. But in those books, we give speech development activities. We have but we talk about many programs that could help speech, like the Doman reading program can be very helpful with speech development. The mobility program is described in those books that can help with speech development. So if you haven't read the books yet, I really feel that's an important place to start. And then along with, reading those books, I would recommend you take the Doman Method course in the future. The course is available both in English and in Spanish. Okay, Anjali is asking me to get to her question, but Anjali, I'm not sure, did I miss your question? I have the reading materials. Will it be updated? Yes. And I did answer that, Anjali, but you might have missed my answer. Okay. I have a last question here. Sliwa says, my son is 3 years old and 5 months and has a diagnosis of autism and deficiency of vision in one eye. Could I work activities from the Doman method that I took from a course to work it only by myself? So Sliwa, if I understand your question correctly, yeah. I mean, if you learned about the Doman method, it could definitely help both the symptoms of autism and the deficiency in vision. The one question I would ask is, did you take our Doman method course or did you take a course from someone else? Because I do sometimes have parents join this and they've taken courses about our program from others. And it's hard. I can't really, I don't have any quality control mechanism over what other people do. So some people claim, sometimes I'm horrified by what people call the Doman method. Like sometimes I see people showing things on, and they say, oh, I'm an expert in the Doman method. And I say, I've never seen this person before. I have no idea who they are. They were definitely never trained by us. And they're selling things saying it's the Doman method, and sometimes breaking all the rules of our program. So I just get concerned when I hear people talk about taking other Doman courses. All right, everyone, we are all out of time. I just want to let you know, I am committed. I've been traveling a lot recently, but I'm committed to doing Start the Week with Spencer for the next 4 weeks. And hopefully I'll do it even more after that. But for the next 4 weeks, we will be doing this every Monday at the same time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So an hour before whatever the time is right now, I'll be doing it every Monday. So please keep joining. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a really great rest of your week. Happy teaching. Bye-bye.